Your Business, the show for entrepreneurs. I'm your host, June Middleton. We've got three really terrific entrepreneurial guests here this evening. Susan Finelli, who is an executive vice president for a consulting firm that specializes in dealing with law firms in business development and organization, but she'll tell you more about that. And we have back with us our budding entrepreneur, Tracy Hyter-Suffern. I think this is her 7th appearance, and she's been doing the reality segment of the show of starting her business right here on the show. It's been quite an experience. She's also brought with her a wonderful fitness trainer, a gentleman named Christopher Gould. He has his own business as well. He's a fitness coach, but he'll tell us some about that. So I want to welcome all my guests. It's so great to have you here. I mean, you're all such interesting, different entrepreneurs doing similar but different things, having gone through the trials and tribulations of starting your business, and you're still going through yours.
Still going through.
We're almost there, Tracy.
We are. It's very
we are
exciting.
Almost
it's
there.
Very exciting.
Yeah. And what I'd like to do, though, is start with you, Susan. Please tell us something about your business and how long you've had it, and a little bit more about what you do.
Okay, and first I'd like to thank you for having me this evening. It's a pleasure to be here with you tonight.
Oh,
on
thank
this
you.
show. It's a great show, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. That's nice to hear.
Well, my background, before going into consulting, I was an executive director for various global law firms for 20-odd years.
Global?
Yes.
Did you do a lot of traveling?
Yes, I did. I did a lot of traveling, Asia, Europe, world traveling. So, everyone thinks it's glamorous, but it's not.
Living out of a suitcase
you live
is
out
not
no,
fun.
You see the airport, you see the hotel, and you make a round robin. But it's such interesting work. And then I had the opportunity to join a colleague of mine at AGL Associates, and we do consulting to law firms. We are sort of like business managers. We like to think of ourselves as business managers. And our clients vary from startup organizations to organizations that are in full bloom but need either financial help, especially with billing and collecting, or just to organize the financial department, or they'll ask us to come in and do recruiting for them. We downsize, we help build, we do moves. If people have to move, we assist with moves. And
that's a major undertaking. People don't realize what's involved when you're moving a big office.
And people think, well, I'll just pick up my desk and move,
You have
and you have to demarc with the telephone company, and you have all your equipment and your cables and the services, and so it's a big deal, and it's very political. A move is a very political move because someone in a corner office, well, am I still going to get a corner office? Or,
And a window.
And a window. And if I have, 600 feet now, you can't give me 598, So, and it's amazing, the strategy that goes on in
Now,
that.
have you done this with other businesses or just with law firms? How did you just come to concentrate?
On law firms?
Yeah.
Because my background and my partner's background, we both collectively have probably 50 years worth of business in law firm business. But we do consult for other businesses as services. We can't go in and consult for a manufacturing company that makes widgets or whatever, but any accounting, we do business with accounting firms. And one of our expertise is marketing. We take a very different approach to marketing. We train people to mine their own contacts, their own family. We tell our clients, let us train your attorneys or your accountants how to mine what they have instead of going out to look for new people. And it's amazing. They come back to us and say, I didn't realize, I didn't realize that, so-and-so needed tax work, because we tell people, don't only sell what you do, but sell what the person next to you does.
Well, marketing was an unknown entity where law firms were concerned.
Oh, it's taboo.
The way that you got your clients was who you knew.
Exactly.
It was just the idea of actually soliciting business from someone just wasn't done.
Well, you know, it's interesting you say business because way back when, and not that long ago, you couldn't refer to a law firm as a business. It was a practice. And I do a lot of public speaking, and I remember I was speaking to one of the bar associations, and the title of my seminar was The Business of Law. And during the break, an elderly attorney came over to me and he says, I have to tell you, you offended me. And I said to myself, gee, what did I say to him, you know? So I said, well, you know, I apologize, but how do I offend you? And he said, well, because you called, you know, the practice a business. And I said, well, you know, pardon me, but if you don't, you know, treat your business, your practice as a business, you're going to be out of business.
Well, this is why a lot of firms have folded.
Exactly.
Because they didn't think in terms of having a business.
Exactly.
They only thought in terms of practicing law.
That's right.
And that's just not the case any longer.
No, and that's why we consider ourselves business managers, because we go in and we train lawyers how to be businessmen and women. Yeah, business people.
Well, that's really very, very interesting. And now you've also taught classes at NYU.
Yes, I did, and that was an interesting development. The dean came to me and said, you know, we'd like you to teach a class, and I really didn't have the time, and you know, I apologize, I'm sorry. A few months later, she said, can you come at least and fill in for maternity leave? I said, well, that I'll do. Well, 5 years later, you know, it was the longest gestation period. I was still teaching the class, but it was a wonderful opportunity, and actually I developed their accredited paralegal management program.
Is that what you were mainly teaching?
Well, I was teaching computers. I started teaching computers.
Information technology division?
Exactly, because lawyers were just getting their hands, you know, on the keyboard. So I was teaching them about the programs and how it can help their business. I was always business oriented. And then I don't even remember how they came and asked me would I teach a paralegal management course, and I said I'd be happy to. And they said, well, okay, now you have to develop it because we don't have one.
Well, it's interesting because I taught at NYU too, and in the business and professional school, and every course that I taught, I developed it.
You have to develop it,
teaching how to be an entrepreneur and accounting for small businesses and things like that. So, but it was an interesting experience, I'm sure. How long did you do it?
5 years.
Oh my gosh.
5 years. That's what I said, it's the longest gestation period in history.
But you know, you've done a lot of very interesting things. You've written articles for legal publications, the Law Journal, the National Law Journal. But also too, one of the things that you've done, which was fascinating to me, was that you wrote your own book, a novel.
Yes, I did, Behind the Shadows.
Oh, yeah,
I did.
and I just happen to have a copy here. And it's just absolutely a fascinating book. I read it almost completely in one sitting.
Oh, thank you.
I really enjoyed it with all the twists and turns and a lot of law.
A lot of law, yes, a lot of law. That's right.
But I mean, it was really a very, very interesting book. How did you get interested in writing?
Well, you know, someone just recently said to me, you know, how long have you wanted to be a writer? And I don't remember never wanting to be a writer. I've always wanted to be a writer. And I was young, I wanted to be a journalist, but then it was, do you want to be a journalist or do you want to eat? So I put the journalism aside, but I always wrote. As you said, I've, you know, been published, you know, nationally and internationally. But on the side, I write poetry, I write short stories, and Behind the Shadows, chapter 19 started out as a short story.
Interesting.
It didn't start out as a novel, and the characters all of a sudden were drawing me back in their life. So from chapter 19, I mean, from page 1, that wound up to be chapter 19 because I kept going back and back
well,
in history.
You do have a lot of very interesting characters in the book, and I enjoyed certainly getting through it and reading the whole thing. And definitely don't give up writing. I know that your business is important to you.
Yes.
Being a published author is not easy. It's not an easy way to make money, so you always keep the day job.
That's right. That's right.
And you never let that
Right.
go by. And which is one of the things that I've been talking to Tracy about, starting up that all-important day job of having her own business. And we've been doing this now for 7 sessions, going through from A almost to Z.
Almost.
We're about at like Q or R.
M or maybe M. M or N.
Yeah, for her starting her business. And just again, give us an idea of what it is. What have you been doing since you were last here?
Okay. The last time I was here, I think I had my domain name by then. I think I had.
But we
what
hadn't published it.
We hadn't published it yet,
No.
but I have the domain name. And what I've been spending a lot of time doing is learning about marketing. And one of the things I've learned, and it really turned my mind around about what marketing is, one author called it reputation management. And I had never thought of it like that. And suddenly it became crystal clear to me. There were so many divisions that I couldn't get clear in my head. What's the difference between marketing and advertising? What are we really talking about when we are trying to identify demographics, those kinds of things. So I've been spending a lot of time on that. I've been spending a lot of time on deciding what I would do related to internet marketing. I finished my QuickBooks course, but I had done that by the last time we spoke, and I'm about to purchase QuickBooks. I got a nice little discount for taking a free QuickBooks course.
Oh,
and
terrific.
I
So
mentioned
you
the last
feel
time.
comfortable now doing your kitchen table accounting?
Yes. And one thing I learned, though, which was really important to me, and I'm interested in your opinion on this, the person who taught the QuickBooks course was an accountant. And she said, as easy or as difficult as QuickBooks is to use, and it seems very easy, it's really important to set up your QuickBooks with the person, with an accountant, so that it's set up like your business.
Right, it's called setting up a chart of accounts.
Exactly,
Yes,
exactly.
and that's something that we will get back to because we sort of touched on it. The first budget that I gave you was an exaggerated chart of accounts.
Right.
So we just have to modify it to tailor it
To the business.
your business.
Right. And I have set up charts of accounts before for nonprofits, but this is a little bit
It's a
different.
little different, yeah,
It's a little bit
yeah,
different.
yeah.
So that's where I've been spending the time.
Oh, well, that is wonderful. Now, your major business area, though, is going to be physical fitness, yes?
Fitness coaching, so
Fitness
comprehensive fitness and other things that includes, including nutrition, which is where a lot of people don't spend. Lots of people talk about dieting, but don't really talk about nutrition as a lifestyle.
All right, so then when we get to the point where you have the name for your business, your domain name, then we can get into what exactly you're going to offer because we don't want anyone
Right.
borrowing your idea.
Right.
But I know that one of the things that's going to be included, which is my favorite part of what you're going into, is using the kettlebell. And I know that Christopher, who's also called Gould,
That's what they call me.
okay, I like that
It's okay
name.
by me.
Has been kind enough to come with you so that you can actually show us what the kettlebell workout, or a taste of it anyway, is like. So why don't you take off your
Okay.
mics?
Let's do that.